Hello and welcome in. Mark here, aka the Markster. This is video number 79 in the FreeCAD series, and yet another video on working with an imported mesh object. Before we get started with that, let's look at which version I'm using. So this is 0.19 revision 222.66. It's time to update it. It's 11 days old. So a user posted this on the forum, and he would like to convert this to FreeCAD format. I'm not sure what the aim is, but we haven't done any of these in PartDesign, so I thought I would make one using PartDesign with this. So the first thing, of course, we have to go to Mesh Remodel to get this toolbar active. Select the mesh object and we'll create a points object. So how would we go about remodeling this? I'm going to use a sketcher. We're going to create links to external geometry to these points, create the arcs in the sketcher, and remodel from there. We'll do the bevel here last. There's a relatively new feature with the Design Chamfer that I want to show you, where you can make a chamfer at different angles instead of just a 45-degree angle. So let's make a sketch. Let's make a body first. We'll create a sketch, and I'm going to put it on the XY plane. This object is on that plane already. Now we can begin making some links to external geometry. Now let me do it. What I need to do is put the MR points object into the body. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm select the body, come down here to the group property in the data tab, click the little three dots button, and select the MR points object. So sketch and MR points are both selected, and that puts that into the body. Now let's see if it'll let me create some links. Okay. So there's going to be straight edges, it looks like here, and then the arc begins here. We only need 3 points for each arc, the beginning, the ending, and one in the middle. There we are. I'm not bothering to try to center this object in the sketch. I'll just use it where it's at. It's hard to see this because it's black, but now here Let's make one here. And let's make that thing visible. So I want links to this center arc. So we'll make it out to here, and then we'll do the chamfer at the end. Notice that it puts the point down there. It's putting it on the plane of the sketch, which is great. That's exactly what we want. Alright, now we're ready to start making the arcs. So in the sketcher, we have two options to make an arc: center and endpoints, or endpoints and rim point. And we want endpoints and rim point. Now when we're using Mesh Remodel, we select this point and then that one and then that one and make the arc. But with Sketcher, it's different. You select first the two outer points and then the inner point. And as long as you're getting your coincident constraints, it'll all be fully constrained. If you get to a point where you're seeing white instead of lime colored edges, it means you missed one of those constraints. Not looking right, is it? Let's see. Yeah, I've missed that one. Delete that one. It needs to use these edges here, these points here. Now I'll use line segments. I could use a multi-line tool, but I'm not going to. I missed one arc. I need to come back and make that one. Somewhere I missed something. Over constrained. Could use point-to-point tangency for these arcs. But let's try the coincident constraints. See if that works. Alright. Now I've already measured this, so I know it's 8 millimeters. So let me see if we can pad this out to 8. So there are 2 objects. You just need to make that last bevel. We'll do that with chamfer. Select both of these edges. And this is new here. So before, these are always all equal distance, which means you had a 45-degree angle in both directions. But now you can have 2 distances or a distance and an angle. And we'll choose that one. So let's experiment with this angle. So 30 degrees. Looks like it would work for there. Okay, 60 degrees and 1/2 millimeter looks like what was in the original model. The preview is really nice. So there we have our comparison. It all looks good. Let's go to part and do a check geometry. No errors. One solid. So that was it. Nice and easy model to redo. Let's go to mesh design and make a mesh out of that. Check it for errors. All good. Of course, there are different options. That's just the standard mesh creation option. If we view these in wireframe mode, it gives us a nice look into the mesh we just created. And one of the things I like to look for is uniformity. So that looks nice and uniform. I don't see any anomalies. We can make one using NetGen. Let's use fine. And to me, NetGen produces really nice looking uniform meshes. Takes a little longer. It does a little more computation. Can take it a lot longer on some more complicated models. Let's check that one. No errors there. So that's probably the one I would use if if I were going to print this. So when you convert to a mesh, I recommend do it here in Mesh Design. Test it for errors. This tool is really fantastic for finding errors, not so fantastic for correcting the errors, but at least it'll find them and let you know if you have trouble. Repair will come up if you have an issue. But I have found the way it repairs is it just removes the offending edge or face. It really doesn't fix it usually. Sometimes it might. So it's worth trying, but don't have your hopes too high for that. But it's great for finding mistakes, finding issues. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching as always, and have a great day.